After a grueling 20-day chess World Cup, it has boiled down to this. It's probably the dream clash that every chess enthusiast wanted because 18-year-old Ramesh Babu Praggnanandhaa is on the cusp of achieving something that many chess enthusiasts from India had always wanted, winning the Chess World Cup. But standing in his path is the colossus called Magnus Carlsen. Now remember, without a shadow of a doubt, let us make it very, very clear. Praggnanandhaa is the underdog heading into this huge Chess World Cup final because for the simple numbers and for the simple achievements, Magnus Carlsen is the greatest of all time when you have to look at this modern era. I mean, look at his ELO ratings, look at his success rate. Beating Carlsen is a massive feat. I mean, 2,800 plus in classical chess. That means you got a test average, you have to relate with cricket, you got a test average of over 100. In rapid and blitz, it is over 2,850 and 2,900. That means in ODIs and T20Is, average of 100 with a strike rate of 150 and 150 average with a strike rate of 200. This is the humongous thing that Magnus Carlsen is. But remember, even greats can be mortal. And if there is one individual who has made Magnus Carlsen mortal through these last 5 to 6 years, it is actually Praggnanandhaa. Now in this video, I will give you the preview to the final that is going to be played today. You may not have a winner today, you will only have a winner either by Wednesday or by Thursday, because this is how the format is. So without further ado, let us just see what is the history that awaits Praggnanandhaa ahead of his clash against Magnus Carlsen, because if he wins the Chess World Cup, he will achieve the only feat that one other Indian has achieved, and that is Vishwanathan Anand. Vishwanathan Anand won the Chess World Cup, which was that time called the World Championship. I mean, it was called as the Chess World Championships at that time. But in 2000 and 2002, Vishwanathan Anand had won the Chess World Cup. But in the new format that has been there since 2005, Praggnanandhaa could very well become the first Indian ever to win this. Now, he is going to face Magnus Carlsen. But actually, if you want to look at it, if you want to dive deep beneath the numbers, Praggnanandhaa actually has an advantage. You know why? Because he has beaten Carlsen 3 times since 2016. And remember, when he first achieved this feat in 2016, at that time he was 10 years old when he beat Carlsen in 2016. And remember, after a year and a half, Praggnanandhaa became the second youngest grandmaster to get the grandmaster norm, because he just missed it by a couple of months against Sergei Karyakin. So, he's beaten Carlsen in 2016, defeated him in the last couple of years as well. And so, he was the youngest ever to beat Carlsen when he became the world champion. Carlsen, if you have to look at it in this Chess World Cup, he's actually lost one game. And if you look at his earlier struggles against Praggnanandhaa, he actually struggles against players who are less than 20 years his age. An example, the German player Vincent Keimer. Now remember, Keimer and Carlsen squared off in the league stages, and Keimer had won the first game. Carlsen was on the brink of elimination, but somehow the great that he is, Carlsen pulled it back and managed to take it to the rapids and win. So he struggled against 17-year-old Vincent Keimer. Now against Praggnanandhaa, whom he lost against 3 times. This is going to be an uphill task. It won't be easy because ironically, both Carlsen and Praggnanandhaa are playing in the World Cup final for the first time. Remember, in 2021, he lost in the semi-finals and had to settle for 3rd spot, Magnus Carlsen. Praggnanandhaa is playing it for the first time, the first Indian after Vishwanathan Anand to reach that. Now, if you look at Praggnanandhaa in this Chess World Cup, you can see how mentally strong and how game aware he is against the big players. He raises his game against the big players. Remember, he beat world number 3 Hikaru Nakamura in tiebreaks in round 4. Nakamura was considered as one of the best rapid players. He defeated him in the rapid tiebreakers. But in the semi-finals, he showed his class against world number 2 Fabiano Caruana, because Caruana is the master of both the middle game in classical and the end game. Praggnanandhaa was really struggling for time. He was almost going to lose out on time in both the classical games, but he dug deep and ensured he took it to a draw. In the rapids, he held on for a draw, but in the 10+10 rapid tiebreakers, Praggnanandhaa managed to win, and because of that, he went through to the final in the most dramatic circumstances. You want pressure? Well, he faced pressure against Arjun Erigaisi because he went to the 3+2 blitz tiebreaker, and that ensured that Praggnanandhaa beat his very good friend Arjun Erigaisi, and he managed to stay alive in the Chess World Cup. So for big pressure experience, Praggnanandhaa has got it all in this Chess World Cup. Now, for all of you who are wondering, how is the format of the Chess World Cup going to be? Well, today and on Wednesday, you are going to see 2 classical games. What are the classical games? There will be a 90-minute time increment, and then from move 40 onwards, you'll get a 30-minute time increment, and with every move that you make, 30 seconds are added to the clock. That is how today's game and the game on Wednesday, that is how your Chess World Cup classical games are going to be played. Now, if there is no winner in the classical games, then tiebreakers will happen on Thursday. So, if the classical games on Tuesday and Wednesday end in a stalemate, then tiebreakers on Thursday. Now, how are the tiebreakers? If there will be 2 rapid tiebreakers, 25 minutes in the first 2 matches, if it's drawn, then 10+10, that plus 10 is 10 seconds of incremented time. Even after the rapids, there is a draw. You then have 2 5+3 blitz games. 5 minutes each opponent will have on the clock. Every move you make, a 3-second increment. Even then if you don't get it, then you have a 3+2 sudden death. What happened with Erigaisi and Praggnanandhaa? 3 minutes on the clock, 2 seconds incremented move. Now, what happens even if there is still no winner in the 3+2 section? This gets better. If stalemate continues, drawing of lots will determine. Now, there will be a lottery kind of a thing as to who gets to play white. If drawn, the players will switch colors. So, whoever has gotten white in the first thing, if that is drawn, he will play black. And they will play again and again and again until a decisive result is obtained. So that means even if the blitz tiebreakers end in a draw, then a drawing of lots will happen, which player will play white, and then you will play on and on until you get a decisive result. Meaning, if you win the first game, you won the championship. So, why is this going to be a massive achievement for Praggnanandhaa? Let us not discount Vishwanathan Anand for the fact that he won the World Cup twice in 2000 and 2002. But Praggnanandhaa will be the first Indian to win the Chess World Cup in the new format if he does it. Anand, when he played in 2000 and 2002, what happened? At that time, there were 24 players. 24 players were divided into 6 players in 4 groups, and the top 2 of those 4 groups made it to the quarterfinals. Quarterfinals, semifinals and final, if there was a draw, you could then be decided by rapid tiebreakers. And that is how that format was. But in 2005, the format changed. Now it is a 128 player tournament. Among 128 players, if you manage to become the number 1, then it is a tremendous achievement in the world of chess. You've conquered 128 players and you're at the top of the mountain. It is truly an astonishing feat what Praggnanandhaa will achieve then. But already this World Cup is historic for Praggnanandhaa, because irrespective of what happens in the final, he has already qualified for the candidates of 2024. It's certain. There is no backdoor calculation. There is no other permutations and combinations. Praggnanandhaa will play candidates 2024 in Toronto, because if he had lost in the semi-finals, you would all have to depend upon Magnus Carlsen's mood. He has categorically stated that he will not play the candidates. But at the last moment, what if it changes? Carlsen announcing that could have been a distraction for all the other players. Praggnanandhaa was focused and he said, okay, I will win against Caruana and then go to the final. So all doubts cleared. He is the second Indian after Vishwanathan Anand to play candidates. That itself is a massive feat from the 18-year-old. And he will be the third youngest to play in the candidates after Bobby Fischer and Carlsen. That is how staggering this achievement is. So today and on Wednesday, we will see Praggnanandhaa and Magnus Carlsen play out the classical games. If Praggnanandhaa can do the unthinkable and win the classical games, because remember, they played one classical game in the past, which was a drawn game. Now, if Carlsen and Praggnanandhaa put on a similar fight, it will be a treat for all chess fans. It could be a defining epoch in chess, because remember, if anybody can beat Carlsen, then that player has already gotten a claim to fame. Because remember one more thing. In all the years prior to Carlsen relinquishing that world championship, only one player beat him in that 9 years in the world championship, and that was Vishwanathan Anand. Once. So, that is the situation we have. Praggnanandhaa versus Carlsen. This is the situation we have. It starts today at 4:40 p.m. IST. So, thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live, and don't forget we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Thank you.